The hall was glowing, not just from the fairy lights strung across the ceiling, but from the warmth of the people I had invited, my chosen family, my real friends, the ones who saw me through my darkest years. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you love emotional stories with big twists, hit subscribe. Another powerful one drops tomorrow. I had waited so long for this moment. Today was supposed to be perfect, my wedding day. The day I finally felt like I deserved to be loved, to be safe. My heart was thudding, not out of fear, but out of joy, or at least, that's what I thought it was. My dress hugged me like a promise. People were laughing, music played soft in the background, and every time I looked at Aaron, my husband now, he was smiling in that quiet, strong way he always did, like he saw right through my broken pieces and decided to stay anyway. Then the mic clicked on. My sister stood up, holding her champagne glass like a dagger. Her lips curled into a smile that never reached her eyes. I knew that smile. I had grown up with it. It always came right before something bad. "I just wanted to say a few words about my beautiful sister," she began, voice syrupy sweet. "You look stunning, really. Who would have thought you'd end up here after everything you've done?" People laughed awkwardly. A few guests turned their heads, sensing something was off. My stomach twisted. I knew that tone, I knew that look, and I knew I couldn't stop what was coming. "I mean," she continued, chuckling, "let's not forget the time she accidentally dated her best friend's fiancé. Oh, should I not say that? My bad." The room started shifting. Some people gasped, some whispered. I felt heat crawling up my neck. My legs were glued to the floor. I looked at Aaron, and for the first time all day, he wasn't smiling. He was staring straight at my sister. I couldn't breathe. It was happening again. This wasn't new. She had always done this. Ruined birthdays, hijacked family dinners. Once, when I got a scholarship, she told the whole room I only got it out of pity. Every time something good happened to me, she made sure to poison it. Quietly, skillfully, so she could laugh when I broke. But today wasn't supposed to be one of those days. I heard her laugh again. "Honestly, Aaron, you're a brave man. Taking on someone like her. I hope you're ready." The silence after that sentence was louder than any scream. My heart dropped. I wanted to run. I could feel the judgment in people's eyes like knives against my skin. My lips trembled, but no words came. I wanted to speak, to defend myself, to explain, but I just stood there. Until Aaron moved. He stood up slowly, calmly. He walked toward the mic without saying a word. The tension in the room coiled tighter. Even my sister blinked, surprised. He reached the mic, looked around the room, then looked right at her. "Thank you for your speech," he said quietly. "But since we're all sharing secrets today, maybe I should share one too." A murmur ran through the crowd. My sister shifted in place. "I knew about that story," he said, voice steady. "All of it. She told me. Not because she had to, but because she chose to. Because she's honest. Because she doesn't hide who she is." I blinked. He wasn't angry. He wasn't embarrassed. He was defending me? She made mistakes, yeah, haven't we all? But what she never did was try to hurt someone just to feel powerful. That's something only cowards do. My sister's face went pale. People were turning in their seats now, eyes darting between her and Aaron. "And if you think dragging someone down on their happiest day makes you clever, you're wrong. It just makes you sad." For a second there was dead silence. Then someone clapped, then another, and then everyone did. I stood there, frozen, as a wave of support washed over me. I didn't know how to feel. My world had just flipped in under a minute. The shame, the fear, it started fading. And for the first time, I didn't feel small next to her. Aaron reached for my hand and whispered, "You don't ever have to stand alone again." But something in my sister's eyes didn't sit right. She smiled again, but this time, it was different. Colder. I should have known it wasn't over. The applause faded, but the damage clung to the air like smoke after a fire. People returned to their conversations, unsure of what to say, pretending everything was fine. But I could feel it. The shift. The discomfort. My sister's smile lingered like a warning. She didn't lose. Not yet. I leaned into Aaron as he wrapped his arm around me, grounding me with his warmth. For a moment, I wanted to believe it was over, that maybe his words were enough to push her back. But deep down, I knew her. And she wasn't the type to walk away without finishing the job. The rest of the ceremony went on, but something in me had cracked. I kept glancing at her, and every time she looked right back, calm, poised, like a wolf who'd just found the edge of the forest. When we sat down for dinner, she found a way to sit 2 tables away, perfectly in my line of sight. She wasn't eating, just watching, sipping her wine slowly, like she was waiting for something. Aaron leaned toward me. "Ignore her. She won't ruin this." I nodded, but my fingers were trembling under the table. Then came the speeches. Friends, cousins, a few of Aaron's co-workers, short, sweet, harmless. But with every kind word spoken about me, I saw her jaw twitch slightly. She kept her eyes trained on the glass in her hand, but her knuckles were white. And then came my mom. She stood, nervous, holding a card that shook slightly. Her voice was soft, almost apologetic. I just want to say how proud I am of my daughter. She's always been the fighter, the one who never gave up even when things got hard." I felt something tighten in my throat. She was never the easy one, always emotional, always sensitive, but maybe that's what makes her so strong. The crowd smiled. I smiled too. But when I glanced at my sister again, she wasn't even pretending anymore. She wasn't smiling. She was staring straight at my mom like she wanted to burn holes through her. After the speeches, I went to get some air. The venue had a small balcony overlooking the garden, strung with tiny lights. I stepped out and exhaled for what felt like the first time in hours. The noise faded behind the glass doors. Then I heard the sound of heels. She didn't speak right away, just stood beside me, close enough to make my skin crawl. "You really think that speech saved you?" she asked softly. I turned to her, careful not to raise my voice. "Why are you doing this?" She laughed. "Because it's fun." I blinked. "You humiliated me." "No," she said, leaning against the railing. "You humiliated yourself. I just told the truth." "You twisted it." She shrugged. "Same thing." There it was again, that glint in her eyes. The same one from when we were teenagers, when she told our neighbors I stole from their garage just to get me grounded for the weekend. "I don't get it," I said, my voice cracking. "What did I ever do to you?" She looked at me, and for the first time all day, she dropped the act. No smirk, no fake politeness. "You were supposed to be the mess," she said. "Not the bride, not the one people love. That was never supposed to be you." My breath caught. She turned to leave but paused in the doorway. This was only the beginning. Then she was gone. I stood there, shaking, as the door shut behind her. Only the beginning? When I walked back inside, Aaron saw my face and immediately pulled me aside. "What happened?" I hesitated. "She said she's not done." His jaw clenched. "Then we won't be either." He didn't let go of my hand for the rest of the night. But something had changed. I could feel it between every smile, every dance, every hug. The peace I'd fought so hard for was slipping, and I didn't know what was coming next. Later, as we were cutting the cake, I saw her phone screen light up on her table. A message preview flashed. "Everything's ready. Just say the word." I didn't recognize the number, but my stomach dropped. Aaron followed my eyes. "What is it?" I couldn't answer, because I had no idea who she was talking to, or what exactly she had planned, and that's when I realized she didn't come to destroy me in front of strangers. She came to unravel me piece by piece in front of the one person I thought I was finally safe with. The car ride home that night felt like a dream I couldn't wake up from. I was still in my wedding dress, the back seat crinkled from the layers of fabric, and Aaron's hand rested gently on mine the whole way. He didn't ask more questions. Maybe he sensed I wasn't ready, or maybe he was just giving me space to breathe. But inside my head, I couldn't breathe at all. I kept replaying her words. This is only the beginning. What beginning? What else could she do? The next morning, we were supposed to be packing for our mini honeymoon. Nothing too fancy, just a few days by the lake. Aaron wanted something peaceful, away from the noise, and so did I. Until last night happened, until I saw that text. I hadn't told him about it yet. I wasn't sure how. It felt like saying it out loud would give it power, but I should have known better, because by noon, the first call came. "Hey, is it true?" It was my cousin Talia. Her voice was weird, cautious. "Is what true?" I asked. She paused. "The thing about you and that married guy. The one who, you know." My blood went cold. "What are you talking about?" She hesitated. "I got an email. From some random ID. It said you ruined someone's marriage, that you pretended you didn't know he was taken. They even attached screenshots, messages, DMS. It's going around." I nearly dropped my phone. That story. That wasn't how it happened. It wasn't even real. Years ago, a coworker had flirted with me. I shut it down the second I found out he was married. There was nothing beyond a few harmless texts, until his wife found out and twisted everything. I'd buried that chapter. I had no idea how my sister even knew about it. I hung up and opened my email. There it was. A message sent to my entire extended family, a few of Aaron's friends, and even my old boss. Subject: "The bride you all think you know." Body: "Just wanted to make sure everyone saw the real her before this fairy tale gets too far. Truth always comes out." Attachments: screenshots. Selective, manipulated, cruel. I sat on the floor, heart racing, hands shaking. Aaron found me like that. He knelt beside me, read the email, then looked me straight in the eyes. "Is any of this true?" I shook my head, tears already falling. "Not like this. I didn't even know he was married until—" "I believe you." Just like that. No lecture, no suspicion, just a quiet, firm belief. "But we can't ignore this," he added. "She's playing a long game." I nodded, wiping my face. "She's not going to stop until everyone sees me the way she wants them to." Aaron sat back against the wall, thinking, "She's using truth like a weapon. Little pieces of it, enough to look real, but only the worst parts." "She's always done this," I whispered. "In high school, she told people I cheated on a test just because I got a higher grade than her. When I got accepted into my college, she told my dad I slept with someone on the admissions team. It's always the same. Take a moment, twist it, destroy me with it." Aaron took a deep breath. "Then we fight fire with fire." I blinked. "What do you mean?" He reached for his phone. "I've been patient, but I'm not letting her tear you apart like this. If she wants to drag up the past, fine, but she doesn't get to be the only one telling stories." That's when he pulled up a video. I didn't recognize the thumbnail at first, but the title caught me off guard. "Behind Closed Doors, A Sister's True Face." "A few years ago," Aaron explained, "before you and I even got serious, your friend Kara told me something. About your sister. I didn't know what to do with it back then, so I asked her to record it, just in case." I stared at him. "Kara?" She moved away. "She's back, and she still remembers." My hands were sweating. "What did she say?" Aaron hesitated. "I think you need to hear it." He hit play. Kara appeared on screen, sitting on a couch, her face somber. "If you're watching this, then maybe it means she's done it again. I've known the bride's sister for years, and I can tell you, whatever you've heard, whatever lies she's telling, you need to know who she really is." Then Kara detailed it. "The way my sister once planted rumors about another girl in school to get her expelled. The time she sent fake texts to sabotage someone's scholarship. And the worst part, how she used my name once to flirt with a guy online and then blamed me when things blew up." My mouth went dry. "She's dangerous," Kara said in the video. "She smiles like your best friend and burns you like an enemy. Don't trust her." When the video ended, Aaron looked at me. "We don't have to use this. But if she keeps pushing, we won't stay silent." I swallowed hard. "If we use it, she'll come harder." "I know," he said. "But this time, she won't see it coming." 2 days passed. 2 long, heavy days. We never made it to the lake house. How could we? Our honeymoon had turned into damage control. Emails, texts, people asking questions with that fake concern in their voice, pretending to check on me but really just hungry for gossip. And still, my sister said nothing publicly. She didn't need to. Her silence was louder than any post, but she kept sending messages through others. Small nudges to plant doubt. A shared memory tagged on Facebook, one where I looked tipsy and flirty, from a college party I barely remembered. No context, just the photo and a caption. "Remember this night?" It didn't take much. Comments flooded in, some supportive, others not. A few people DM'd me to ask if the rumors were true, others just ghosted completely. Quiet rejection is somehow worse than loud judgment. Aaron kept checking in, kept reminding me we weren't alone. But I could feel it. Something in me was unraveling, and that was exactly what she wanted. I sat on the edge of the bed that third morning, staring at the message again. "Everything's ready. Just say the word." I couldn't take it anymore. I called her. She picked up on the second ring, her voice smooth as butter. "Surprised you're calling. You've been a little quiet since the wedding." "Stop," I said. "Just stop whatever this is." "I'm not doing anything," she said innocently. "If people want to talk, that's on them." "You sent the emails." She sighed, exaggerated. "Prove it." There was a beat of silence. Then she added, "You always thought if you played perfect long enough, everyone would forget what you really are. But they don't forget. They're just waiting for a reason to remember." "You're sick." "No," she said calmly. "I'm honest. Maybe a little cruel, but you—" Her voice dropped. "You're the liar." I hung up before I said something I'd regret. My hands were shaking, my head was spinning. Aaron came in a few minutes later. "What did she say?" "She wants to break me. That's the game." He sat beside me. "Then let's change the rules." That evening, we posted Kara's video. No captions, no context, just the truth. Within the first hour, the views exploded. People who knew my sister, who'd been fooled by her for years, started sharing their own stories. Quiet DMS, private texts. And then, one by one, comments appeared under the post. "She did this to me too. I always thought something was off about her. It makes sense now." It wasn't revenge, not exactly, it was exposure. I didn't smile, I didn't celebrate, but I slept that night for the first time in days. Until 4:03 a.m., a message woke me. It was a photo of Aaron, sitting in a bar, talking to a woman I didn't recognize. Caption, "Your perfect husband? He's not who you think either." I sat up, heart thudding, hands cold. Was it real? Old? A setup? I wanted to wake him, ask him, scream even. But something told me to wait. I zoomed in. The timestamp in the corner was from yesterday. I stared at the image. My stomach twisted, my mind screamed, but my heart whispered, "She's bluffing again. She has to be. Right?" I couldn't sleep after that. I just lay there staring at the ceiling. That photo burned into the back of my eyes. My sister knew exactly what she was doing. Not just tearing me down, she was trying to isolate me, turn my trust into suspicion, make me doubt the only person still on my side. And for a few hours, it almost worked. When Aaron woke up, I didn't say anything. I wanted to. I wanted to shove the phone in his face and ask for answers. But something about his sleepy eyes, his arms pulling me in, the quiet, "Good morning," he whispered. It didn't feel like a man with secrets. So I waited. I told myself I'd bring it up later, calmly, rationally. But as the hours passed, my mind kept circling. What if the picture was real? What if the woman in the bar was more than a random stranger? What if this time my sister wasn't lying? The silence between us started growing. I wasn't talking much. Aaron noticed. He asked me twice if I was okay, and I smiled each time, pretending everything was fine. But by evening, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I showed him the picture. I expected defensiveness, anger, a denial. But instead, he just stared at it quietly, then exhaled deeply. "That was last night," he admitted. "I didn't tell you because I knew how it would look." He looked at me then. "I went to meet someone. Her name's Jenna. She's a friend of Kara's, works in cybersecurity. She's helping us." I blinked. "Helping us how?" "She traced the email your sister used, the one that sent all that garbage. Turns out it's connected to multiple burner accounts, ones she's been using for years. She's been collecting things on you, planting fake stories, manipulating photos. Your sister's been planning this long before the wedding." It took me a second to process it. Relief washed through me, but so did a chill. My sister hadn't just acted on impulse. This was a campaign, a war she'd been preparing quietly, collecting ammunition, biding her time. And now that she had fired the first shots, it was only a matter of time before she escalated. Aaron continued, "Jenna's putting everything together in a digital report. Dates, timestamps, sources. If we take this public, it'll dismantle every lie she's told." But I hesitated. What if it backfires? What if people just say I'm attacking my own sister, that I'm being dramatic? Aaron shook his head. "This isn't drama. This is survival." That night, I couldn't stop thinking about how it all began. The small signs I'd ignored, the petty jabs growing sharper, the fake smiles that didn't reach her eyes. I always told myself that's just how sisters were, that rivalry was normal. But this wasn't rivalry. This was something else. The next day, I got a call from my mom. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't mention the wedding. She just asked one thing. Did you really make up all this about your sister? I felt like the ground dropped beneath me. She said you edited that video, my mom added, her voice cold. That you paid that girl to lie, that you've been jealous of her since you were kids. I tried to explain, to defend myself, but I could tell she'd already chosen sides. After we hung up, I sat in silence for a long time, and then I said something I hadn't said out loud before. I think I hate her. Aaron didn't react. He just sat beside me, hand on mine. You don't hate her, he said softly. You hate what she's turned you into. That line stayed with me, because he was right. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about reclaiming myself, my story, my peace. And it wasn't over yet. The house felt quieter after that call with my mom, like even the walls had taken sides. It's strange how silence can feel so loud when it's packed with everything left unsaid. I didn't cry. I wanted to, but I think I had already dried up somewhere inside. What hurt wasn't just that my mother believed my sister, it was that she didn't even ask me what was true. She had made her decision before dialing my number. Maybe she always had. Aaron stayed close that day. He didn't try to fix it, didn't offer shallow comfort. He just existed beside me, and that was enough. But even in the quiet, I could feel something shifting in him too. His jaw was tighter, his words more measured. I realized he wasn't just angry anymore, he was planning. Jenna had sent over a preview of her report. It was dense, timelines, IP addresses, metadata, social media links, all pointing back to my sister's pattern of manipulation. It was sickening. She hadn't just come after me. There were others too. Some I didn't even know. Victims of small, calculated acts, people who had lost jobs, relationships, peace of mind, all while she smiled for group photos and handed out fake compliments. That night we made a decision. We wouldn't release the report online. Not yet. We'd hold a small gathering, close friends, family, people who had been confused or pulled into the lies, face to face, no hiding behind screens. I wanted them to see me, to hear the truth from my mouth. Aaron called it a truth intervention. I didn't love the name, but I loved the idea. For once, I wouldn't just defend myself, I'd expose her. When we sent the invites, I knew my sister would find out. I even hoped she would. I wanted her to squirm, and she didn't disappoint. 3 hours later, she texted me, just one sentence. Getting desperate, aren't we? I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The night of the gathering, my hands wouldn't stop trembling. We had set up a projector in our living room, printed the report, and prepared statements. I felt like I was walking into a courtroom, except this time, I wasn't the one on trial. People started arriving slowly, friends who'd gone quiet, cousins who had questions in their eyes, Aaron's co-workers who had been looped in by the wedding drama. And finally, my sister walked in, late, smiling, wearing white. Of course she did. She hugged a few people, gave me a quick glance like I was invisible, and sat down without saying a word. I could feel her gaze the entire time. I took a deep breath, stood up, and began. No script. Just the truth. I told them everything. Not just the recent attacks, but the years of slow, corrosive sabotage. The lies she told, the way she made me question my own memory, my own worth. I showed the emails, the fake accounts, the screenshots she had edited, and then we played the video again, Kara's statement, this time backed with proof. Silence filled the room, the kind that feels thick, like a storm building before the rain. When it ended, I looked at my sister. Her face was unreadable, but her eyes had narrowed just enough for me to know she hadn't expected this. Someone asked her if any of it was true. She laughed, that soft, mocking laugh she used when she felt trapped. You're all being manipulated. She's obsessed with playing the victim. She's always needed attention, and now she's finally getting it. No one responded. Not right away. Then someone stood up. It was Talia, my cousin, the first one who called me after that email. I believed you, she said to my sister. I defended you, but now, I see it. The dam broke after that. More voices, more truths. People started confessing things my sister had said behind my back, rumors she'd spread, moments they'd overlooked. Her calm mask cracked. She stood up abruptly and snapped, "You're all sheep. She's just better at pretending than I am." Then she left. Just like that. I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollow. Like I'd just pulled something infected out of me, and now I had to deal with the wound left behind. After everyone left, I sat alone for a while. Aaron cleaned up quietly. I watched the empty room. And then I realized, this wasn't the end. Because people like her don't disappear. They reload. They wait. And I could already feel it. She wasn't done. A week passed. Things were quiet on the surface, but I knew better than to believe that meant peace. My sister hadn't reached out since the night of the truth intervention. No texts, no cryptic posts, nothing. But that kind of silence wasn't surrender. It was strategy. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I checked my email obsessively, avoided social media, and jumped at every unknown number that called. Paranoia isn't loud. It creeps in quietly, making you question every normal moment. Aaron tried to keep me grounded. He took over the small things, groceries, phone calls, even scheduling my therapy appointment. But even he couldn't hide the fact that he was bracing for something. Jenna sent one final update, a clean, bulletproof file with everything we'd need if this went legal. She'd done more than I expected, and at this point, I didn't even have to ask her why. She'd dealt with people like my sister before, people who wear kindness like a costume and use secrets like weapons. Then, just as we were starting to breathe again, it happened. Someone leaked a private recording, an old therapy session I had done virtually a year ago. It wasn't anything terrible on its own, just raw, vulnerable. Me talking about how I sometimes felt like I didn't deserve happiness. That maybe, just maybe, I wasn't enough for Aaron. It was clipped, edited, and posted anonymously on a gossip forum. But it had my voice, my words. And within hours, it spread like wildfire. The pain wasn't just the invasion. It was the intention. She hadn't just tried to humiliate me. She wanted to rip open the parts of me I had fought so hard to heal. Aaron was furious. I could see it in the way he paced, the way he kept asking how someone even got access to that. The answer was obvious. She'd hacked me, or had someone do it for her. There were no boundaries anymore. I spent that night curled up in the dark, blanket over my head like a child hiding from monsters. But this wasn't some nightmare I could wake up from. It was real. And worse, people I knew had shared the video, commented on it. Even those who'd stood in our living room just days before, nodding with sympathy, were now engaging with the gossip like it was entertainment. I wanted to run, to disappear. But Aaron wouldn't let me. "Don't give her the ending she wants," he whispered, holding me tighter. "You've already taken back your voice, now take back your name." So we did something I never thought I'd do. We filed a restraining order. It wasn't easy. The process was humiliating. Questions, forms, statements, all dissecting my relationship with my sister like it was some clinical case, but it was necessary. The moment I signed it, I felt something shift. Not victory, not safety, but power. For the first time, I was drawing a line in ink. The next day, the sheriff delivered the notice. My sister didn't react publicly, but I heard from someone that she trashed her living room, smashed a glass table, screamed for hours. It made me sick to picture it, but also, strangely, free. Because maybe now she'd finally see that I wasn't her victim anymore. But the damage was done. The video couldn't be unseen. My parents still hadn't called, some friendships hadn't recovered. And yet, something inside me had started to rebuild. Slowly. Quietly. Aaron surprised me that night with something small. He pulled out a worn notebook I hadn't seen in years. My journal from high school. He had found it during the move, kept it hidden until now. Inside were pages and pages of my younger self, naive, hopeful, hurt, honest. Reading those entries, I remembered the version of me who still believed that people could change, that love could heal, that family meant something. That girl was gone. But something stronger had taken her place, and if my sister thought she had written the last chapter of my story, she had no idea what was coming next. 2 months passed. The world moved on, as it always does. The gossip faded. New scandals replaced mine. The video stopped trending, and the comments slowed down. But something in me had permanently shifted. I no longer woke up waiting for the next attack. I no longer walked through life carrying the weight of my sister's gaze. The silence between us stretched, but for once, it felt peaceful. Because it wasn't the quiet before another storm, it was the quiet after surviving one. The restraining order stayed in place. She tried to contest it once, but the evidence was too strong. Her lawyer pulled out before the hearing, probably realizing what a mess she had made. She went dark online, deleted her profiles, moved out of the city, or so I heard. I didn't chase the details. I didn't need to. That part of my life didn't belong to me anymore. It belonged to the past. I started writing again, not just journaling, real writing, stories, fiction, truths disguised as metaphors. Every night after dinner, I'd sit by the window with a cup of tea, laptop open, and pour everything onto the page. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about voice, healing, reclaiming the parts of me that had been silenced or twisted. Aaron read everything I wrote. He never offered edits, just smiles and soft praise. He knew it wasn't about polishing, it was about purging. One evening, I got a message. It was from someone I hadn't spoken to in years, Marissa, an old college friend. She had seen the video, the gossip, all of it, but she hadn't believed a word. She'd just been waiting for the dust to settle before reaching out. "I knew something was off with your sister back then," she wrote. "I should have said something." That message hit me harder than expected, not because of the regret, but because someone saw me even when I thought I was invisible. More messages trickled in, quiet apologies, small reconciliations. Not everyone came back, but the ones who did mattered. And the ones who didn't? I stopped chasing them. Then came the anniversary of our wedding. A full year since the day everything cracked wide open. Aaron planned something simple, a quiet dinner, a walk through the park, just us. No cameras, no guests, no staged smiles. As we sat beneath the soft glow of fairy lights in our backyard, he looked at me the same way he did that night at the mic. Like he saw every shattered piece I had tried to glue back together and loved me more for it. "I never told you what I almost said," he murmured, fingers gently brushing mine. "That day, at the wedding, after she tried to destroy everything." I tilted my head. "What?" "I had something prepared, just in case. I never had to use it because she walked out, but I kept it." He pulled out a folded paper from his wallet, worn, creased, fragile. I opened it slowly, and there it was, a single paragraph. Honest. Raw. "The woman I married today is stronger than any storm, and no matter what is said in this room or whispered behind her back, I know the truth. She doesn't need saving, she just needed one person to stand with her when the rest tried to tear her down, and that person will always be me." I didn't cry, not because I wasn't moved, but because I had already shed every tear I had for people who didn't deserve them. Now, I saved them for moments like this, moments where love didn't just survive, but triumphed. That night I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling again, but this time it wasn't with fear. It was peace. For the first time in years I wasn't running from a shadow, I was walking toward light. And if anyone ever asks me about my sister, I'll simply say this: she tried to break me, but all she did was set me free. So, what happens after revenge? After the dust settles and the drama fades away? Well, for some of us, it's not about getting even. It's about moving on. It's about finding strength in what others tried to tear down and reclaiming the power that was always yours. This isn't just a story about betrayal, it's a story about breaking free. For me, it was never about revenge. It was about taking back my voice, my truth, and my life. And if you've ever felt like you were walking through life in the shadow of someone else's cruelty, know this: you have the power to walk out of it. You have the power to rewrite your story, because in the end, no one can define you but you, and that's a victory no one can take away. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that remind us all of the power of standing strong. Remember, the best revenge isn't always about making others pay, it's about living well enough that they have to watch in silence. Until next time.